Welcome, beloveds, to my Live by Design podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Mantia Parado, and today we have a special, delicious guest, Dani Frederick. Dani is a divine feminine mystic and spiritual way shower. The cornerstone of her work brings people together to remember the truth of who they are. She dances between worlds, marrying the ancient arts of the priestess with modern leadership technologies, making the powerful practical. Just taken, this is one of her hits on Spotify. You can get it on Apple Tunes as well, iTunes. But Dani, she hosts these amazing ceremonies, retreats, and workshops in person and online, as well as multi-month programs for deep, profound transformation. She also stewards heavenly frequencies, from creating live, devotional sound activations to dropping spiritual vibes on Spotify like this. She loves to expand our perceptions of the soul and the sacred. Welcome, Dani. Welcome.
Thank you, Queen Nicole. So happy to be here, sister.
This is her single, The Priestess I Am, and today we are two priestesses that are going to dive into the journey, the awakening of the priestess, because we want to activate you and help you remember who you truly are and deliver you powerful frequencies so you don't feel alone on this journey and that you become unstoppable in your power and you don't give up, because this is a journey that requires you to be strong and courageous. It is not for the faint of heart. So let's just bring in the energies. I invite you to get yourself cozy, get some tea, cacao, warm beverage, and hang out like you're hanging out with a bunch of sisters and we're about to activate some goddess frequencies. I want you to feel it, I want you to bring it, and I want you to indulge, because there's going to be so much here for you. And when Dani and I come together, it's magic. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me just. I love that song.
Thank you, and thank you for that yummy introduction. I am feeling all of the frequencies, you divine steward, so bright, so strong. It's such a divine blessing to be welcomed into your temple and receive this lusciousness.
Let's start off with a prayer for all you listeners, because I want you guys, we want you to be grounded in your body, because we know that we're in an information saturated world, and you could be listening to multiple podcasts in one day, watching multiple reels and YouTube videos. So we want you to take this in from your whole body, from your head to your toe, and with your intellect and with your soul. So if you could gently close your eyes and just imagine that we were all, the listeners are holding hands in a beautiful circle, vowing to ground this medicine into every cell, atom, and molecule of our being, to ignite a goddess frequency, to awaken the priestess. And Dani, if you want to bring in some grounding frequencies in prayer.
Hario Shakiara, thank you. Yes. Just feeling your root center and allowing that to go down into the earth, almost as the stem of the rose. If the blossom of the rose was our hearts, allowing our stems to go into the earth strong and stable, allowing the roots to go deep and intertwine, connect, say hello to one another. Just calling upon the frequency of the rose to bless each and every one of us wherever we are at on our path for the highest and best to unfold through the beauty way with the greatest of abundance and greatest of ease.
Beautiful. And with that feminine flow, we're going to bring in the tree medicine an anchor like a great sequoia tree, to see the big roots anchored into the earth and feel our network and our connection as we all connect into the rich soil. Just feel yourself grounded like the great roots of a sequoia tree. And as you feel the sequoia tree, feel Mother Earth in your heart. Feel her power and her wisdom in your heart. Because this is for you frequency bringers, you leaders of the new earth. If you're listening to this, you are a change maker, you are a pioneer, you are a builder of the new earth. And we come here to bring you the balance of the masculine and the feminine energies to lead in your full authentic power. And I want to dive deep into Dani's journey so she can share with you what awakened her to this path. So, Dani, how did it all begin?
mm. Well, the arc of my transformation was really the journey from the old paradigm of the toxic masculine, of, a lot of subconscious programming around not feeling safe, dictating all of my choices and decisions in my life, paired with what the map of success that's culturally given to us looks like, of checking off those boxes to be recognized, to have, a quote unquote successful life and successful career and be who you're meant to be, in a very like false way, in a personality driven way. And so I really just got to the point where I was just in desperation. I had this feeling of, I have anxiety all the time. I am not living the way that we're meant to live. And now I have much more language for it looking back. And at the time, I did not. But really, even growing up, I always had this feeling that work is not separate from life, not separate from friends. There's not work friends and real friends, family, what have you. It was this deep sense of these new world paradigms that are, we live our purpose, we breathe our soul, everything around us becomes an extension of our soul. Those who we weave with, who we're magnetized with, who's in our life are not because they are blood, but because they are soul fabric, and we build together. And so that's really this yearning I was feeling, and I had no awareness or words to put into it. But that really getting to this place of, oh my gosh, I need to burn down my life and start anew. In a way where I left a 5.5 year relationship. I moved across the country to Manhattan, and I went through some seasons there, and then I joined. I got really into personal development, which I had not been exposed to before. I had no idea what self improvement was or what these types of things were. And when I started on that self development journey, which is really self awareness, becoming aware of what patterns do I hold, understanding all the different parts of ourselves and the emotions and how to move through them, it connected me back to my heart. And once that little connection was kind of sparked, it's like then I went on this whole other journey that back then I would have called woo woo or crazy. I kept it very secret. I was very in the closet. And it's really the archetype of the priestess and the mystic coming into those ancient remembrances, bringing those powers that are really gifts that we all hold, but they're just not normalized yet. But they're very normalized in our divine genome and in the way that we can steward heaven on earth. So yeah, that was the beginning of my journey, and is going from that toxic masculine, that scarcity paradigm, to deep, deep healing, finding my mentors and teachers in the priestess realm, and then coming here into the stewardship of a sacred business or a public ministry that helps others awaken the archetype of the priestess within themselves in whatever way and measure is perfect for them to apply to their lives. That helps real change happen in the body, in the world of form. So we're not just sitting on a mountaintop meditating, But we are doing that, and we are also bringing that into the body to then steward frequencies that shift our reality, our relationships, and our experience of our life.
Ooh, I got so many questions for you because I know those that are listening, we all go through these things, and breakups are a huge one. I had to divorce my husband. That was part of me elevating to my next step. So, this 5 year relationship, like, ding, 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 that was like a gem because I know so many of you listeners might be at a crossroad where you're like, do I leave or do I stay? Is it me? Can I make this work? So, can you speak to like how you had the courage? Like, how did that all transpire for you? And was that the stepping stone to get you to your next level? Was that an initiation, like one of your first major initiations, would you say, to get on this path?
Yes, I would say that. And I would say I didn't even know I was on the path even after that for another 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
And it was. And it wasn't something where I looked at it as an initiation. Back then, I didn't know what these things were. All I know was I had had this feeling and I wasn't even so aware of it. But he, this beautiful, beautiful human being, is so genuine and so amazing.
Aw.
He had brought it up that, hey, like you're really not treating me well. Like you've been on edge for like multiple months. And it hit me. I was like, I'm not meant to be here. I'm not meant to be in this relationship. I'm not meant for anything that's actually existing in my life right now. And I'm really, really, really lucky and blessed in that he is such a genuine human, even though he was not on board with the breakup, he was on board with me. And he honored that. And we ended up splitting up. And of course, I still remember to this day, he said something along the lines of impeccable timing, Dani, as always, because we had just re signed our lease like a couple of weeks before. And so we ended up living together for another like 30 days or so, like another month. And what we did is we pulled the mattress out of the master bedroom and we made a fort in the living room. And we slept in that fort and we cried together and we mourned it together. And it was this thing where we were best friends. So it was really hard to I think it was really confusing for people because we wanted to spend all of our time together during that 30 days. And people were like, well, you're breaking up. Why are you doing this? It's going to hurt more. And it was like, we made this little bubble for ourselves of absolute honor where the pressure was off. There weren't expectations for one another, there weren't expectations for ourselves. So we really could just honor one another of like, this is happening. We cried together. It was really beautiful. We got each other breakup gifts. I think the last time he left, he had just brought me a CVS bag with frozen pizza, Gatorade, and some other things. Because back then I was a big partier. And he's like, I know you're going to need this. You're going to go out, you're going to be hungover tomorrow. Here's this. And so, we just weren't meant, we had served each other's soul agreements in the way we were meant to. I think he really helped me feel unconditionally supported in a way I've never felt before. And I'd like to think that I helped him in ways, but I won't speak to that because this, this isn't about his
Yeah.
journey. But part of what he desired was more of a small town life of coaching, teaching, having a bunch of babies. And my soul was really craving traveling the world, living in big cities. Like I didn't even feel like I had found the career that was mine yet. And so it came from a lot of desperate moments. I think I was drinking a lot because I was confused. I knew something was off, but I didn't even know what intuition was. So it
Mhm.
was like my body was screaming at me, but my conscious awareness couldn't actually decode it or even receive it. Um, and and yeah, so that was an initiation. It was an initiation into understanding and trusting what intuition is, listening to the signs and feelings of my body. And that, it sounds like a beautiful story all wrapped up in a bow, but that's because we're looking at it, hindsight is 2020. There are a lot of bumps in the road, a lot of really sad, desperate times, and waking up in the middle of the night just crying, like, what's wrong? Why do I hate my life? Type stuff, we'll say. So,
Feel
yeah.
like is what's on the rise right now for so many of the listeners that are here. I know that even me myself, like I'm going through another up level as well, and I'm sure you are too, where it's like 1 minute there's a high and you're riding it, and the next minute it's like, what the fuck am I doing? And I just want to normalize that, guys. Like, you can be a leader, an entrepreneur, a coach, and make money doing what you love and have really low months. And let's be honest, too. This is another thing in leadership. There is also a stop and flow right now for a lot of people that have been bringing in money because it's an opportunity for you to get in alignment with your new level. I believe there's a new mission that activates and opens through every season in our life. Like in the seasons, I don't just mean by, winter, spring, summer, fall. I mean, sometimes for 5 years we're in one kind of season, but another 5 years we're in another. And this is an opening for a new season. Do you feel that, Dani?
Oh, absolutely. This year of the dragon and everything, even with the
Yes.
solstice recently, it's like the light codes are streaming in stronger than ever. And we are being put on our path, whether we like it or not. And it's rocky either way. I think
Yes.
sometimes we're like, oh, if you're in alignment, then it's not rocky. It's like,
That's not true.
no,
That's
but
not
just,
true,
yeah,
everyone.
exactly. That's not
So don't
true.
be
And
hard on yourself.
exactly. We're coming in the age of like spiritual maturity
Mhm.
where I think when we first start on our path, sometimes in the mainstream, it's very transactional. It's very much, I'm going to do this, so my frequency is high, so I can attract this. It's like this one to one. And what we're really being called into is what is your devotion? What is your lifestyle to actually anchor and integrate more of your light body, more of your soul here in this world of form, so that your life does look like what we were talking about before, this new template of everything being an extension of your soul rather than an extension of our limiting beliefs, our scarce paradigms. And that's why, even in the spiritual community, there's so much competition and scarcity because people aren't taking that rest break, that integration, that understanding of like, oh yeah, I'm still on this journey. This is a lifestyle. This is devotion. I'm highly devoted. The highest thing is to truth, not to career, not to followers, not to money, but to truth and to God flowing through me. And knowing and trusting that from that, all else is taken care of because we are vessels of the goddess, protected within the invincible light of God. That is a mantra I say each and every day.
Mm. That's so good because right now I want everybody that's listening to know that like these dark moments that you go through, the breakups, the divorce, the illnesses, the being not knowing where you're going to live next, where you're going to sleep next, how you're going to pay your bills, all of these things that happen during this path are happening for you. And I know that can sound really messy right now, but if you asked Dani, like when that happened, when she broke up, she would be like in it still, right? And now she's telling you she's here because of that, right? Like she's who she is because she went through all of that. And same thing with me. So, whatever season you're in, if you're in a rough season right now, please stick with this, keep listening to us so you know that there's nothing wrong with you. I just want to say there's nothing wrong with you. You're not messed up. You're not a failure, okay? This is just part of a season. And you can have the mindset if you get yourself around people that can support you to transform your life, to lift you up, right? And that's what these sister circles are. That's what the work that Dani and I do is all about. Wow. Because the breakup one is huge. I feel like, especially for the priestess path. And I want to just speak to this too, because I realized that you said something. He said, you've been irritable and not really nice, maybe not kind, on edge. And I want, after serving thousands of clients, and I want to hear what you have to think about this. I've noticed that women who are these strong priestesses that are awakening, we tend to have, we talked about this before, this general energy that starts first as we awaken into our feminine, sensual, flowing energy. It's part of our healing. And part of our healing is the rage and the anger from not living in alignment with ourselves or even knowing how or having to feel like we have to be strong to prove our worth. We have to achieve to have value. And I see this as a core wound in the leaders. I'm talking about the priestess leaders of the new earth that are here to do big things. It's one of the things we have to heal is the rage and the anger and the tendency to be a control freak and not kind at times. Um, Personally, I myself had to go through that too, and I see it so often. So, would you have you seen that in your clients as well too? I mean, nobody wants to speak about this. Nobody wants to say I could be a freaking bitch, raging bitch behind the scenes sometimes, right? But it's true. You
Oh.
have to heal that. I mean, it's a key to our power. And then because after that there's shame. There's like, oh shit. Now there's a level of shame and guilt, right? So it's like, let me peel off the anger, the rage, the shame, and the guilt, and then I'll find my abundance. Then I'll find more of me. Okay, cool. So what do you think about this?
Nicole, so well said. So many chills, so many chills, so many chills. Ah,
Yeah,
oof.
right?
Yeah, that one's huge. That one's huge. Gosh,
We gotta
I don't even know
normalize
where to
it.
start with it. Can you give me a prompt? It's like you just spoke
Okay.
so much truth. I'm just letting it radiate through my body.
No, this is this, yeah. Okay. So I wanna ask you, in your experience, I'm sure after that breakup and over the last years, as you've been on this journey, you have to confront those parts of you still, the rage, the anger, the shame, the guilt, the not enoughness. And how do you hold space for you so you can hold space for others?
Yeah. You know, I laugh so hard because it's just, okay, first of all, I'm an Aries sun, Sag rising. There's so much fire that I had to tame. And you know what? And I know you too. And a sister of mine who's actually writing a book right now all around the astrological signs. And she reached out to me. She's like, as an Aries, what are some of the major life lessons that you had to learn? And it was just like, wow, not cut people down, speak with compassion, non-judgment and neutrality because us fire signs, there's a part almost that can like tap in and see everyone's potential, and then when we're in our immature states, when our parts haven't grown up and gotten the love that they need, it's like because we can see that potential, if people aren't living up to that, we attack rather than coming into our stewardship of, oh, I see this potential. Allow me to love it out of you. Allow me to love it out of
Amen.
you.
True. It's so true.
It's so true. And that's why it's like, like you said, it's like, oh, these mean people. It's like, no, you're also human. We're all so human. And it's always thus. Unless you're an ascended master who can literally like make apparitions out of thin air in a split second. You are on the human journey. You experience human emotions. That's part of it. It's not about being perfect. It's about being able to come back to center and then hold the capacity for all of the perspectives, the human perspective and the soul perspective, which are oftentimes conflicting, and yet they are both true. And how can you honor that? And I think that was a really big part of my journey, is learning that it's not about perfection or constantly coming back to a high vibe or a high frequency or earning love. Earning love was a really big one for me. Earning love through money, earning love through status, earning love through the way I looked.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
about Wow. And look, the universe conspires in your favor, like you said, always. And oftentimes it's conspiring in a way the human does not fucking like, okay? Like
My
it is
God, so
not cute a
true.
lot of the time. And that was part of my journey. It's like I moved to New York and then, I was working in tech. And then I was like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Let me
Okay,
just
so what were you doing while you were working? Sorry, so people know about your skills, your background.
Well, it actually goes in tandem with like the spiritual journey and so it'll be kind of be nice. I'll kind of sum it up in a nutshell because
Hmm.
it really speaks to how self-love and self-development, self-mastery, all aspects of the spiritual path. So the spiritual path is just self-realization, realizing that you are God incarnate, and then there's self-actualization, which is actualizing that in your world of form. And how until we turn in and we look at ourselves, we can make all of the different decisions in our outer world, and we're still going to produce the same results. They're just going to be in new wrapping paper.
I love that.
And I had I had a really prestigious tech job out of college. They hired like less than 1% of people. And you kind of knew going into that company that it's like dog years. Like you rarely last over a year. I think I barely lasted. I think I was a year and 3 months. And, I'd cry before I had to go on trips. Like I absolutely hated my life. And again, people were just like, "Oh, but you make great money. Like you make money at work and then you're happy outside of work." And I was just like, "No, that I really don't believe that in my heart of hearts. Like, that is not it." And so then I tried to change it. I was like, well, maybe this is a big company. Maybe if I go to a startup, went to a small startup tech company. Well, maybe if I hated that. Okay, well, maybe if I go to consulting, whatever, what have you. And I'll get to switching into real estate, but like that portion of life, what was I learning? I have so many grounded masculine skill sets that allow me to birth creations like that in the world that take a lot of other people so much time. But it's because I was in these consulting conversations, I was in these really convoluted operations, viewpoints where we solved issues. And it's like I honed that. So it wasn't about learning technology, it wasn't about account management. But it was about learning how to speak with clients, being extremely professional in written communication and verbal communication, knowing how to present, understanding how to get after outcomes when you have a convoluted mess put on your plate, to clarify, to synthesize information. So that's just one way that it's working for you. Now, at the same time, I was totally wrecked. I was cut off from my feelings. I was super numb. So then I was like, let me do a 180 and go into real estate in Manhattan. Got on a great team, and I was like an assistant on the team. And that was an initiation in and of itself. I still really didn't like it because, again, it wasn't my soul calling, but that's okay. But what it did is it gave me that bridge from the corporate world to the entrepreneurial world with some training wheels. It wasn't my own business right away, but what it did give me is how do you structure your day when there's no one telling you what to do? I had a little bit of someone telling me what to do, right? Because I was more of like a junior agent slash assistant. However, it's like, really, the way I structured my day was on me. My goals were on me, drumming up business on me. And I saw this when I later was a leadership coach, which we'll get to, is when people are making the change from corporate to solopreneurship. And some people stay in corporate because that's where they're meant to be. And there can be some really beautiful things in corporate. So I want to make that clear. I'm not saying corporate is bad and everyone needs to leave. But for those that are called to leave, I've seen a pendulum swing where they try it and then they go back and they try it and then they go back because it really is such a difference in mindset of having a team, having goals that are set for you, having a boss, having mentors just kind of built in versus waking up every day and being like, holy F, literally, what am I doing today? I'm the product, I'm the service, I'm the executor, I'm the CEO, I'm the
Copywriter, the
boss, I'm the
marketer.
muse, I'm the channel, I'm the website designer, I'm the
Yeah,
everything, right?
everything.
So, but what going into real estate did is it helped me hone that and it broke some of these patterns of unworthiness because there were patterns of unworthiness showing up. in ways where I was putting myself in a disempowered position, in ways where I was really angry because I wasn't being recognized in ways that I wanted to be, but that's because I wasn't standing up for myself. But there were other ways in which I was getting my worthiness built where it was really scary for me to rest and to have the spaciousness in my schedule to actually allow myself to rest and choose to allow myself to rest as I repatterned myself. I retaught myself how to cry. I didn't know how to cry before that. And I made this playlist that's like 2 hours long. And I would sit and just practice crying. And sometimes no tears would come. And at the beginning, tears would come and then they would stop because I'd be so happy that I achieved the tears, in that like achievement type A personality.
Yeah.
So I share that because it's these ways in which everything's always serving you. That was also a time when I stood up for actually taking vacation. I never took a lot of vacation because I thought that then I would be at risk for promotion or people would think less of me. And I just had this real prove my worth template activated in me. And so I started standing up for that. And so there's all these different things. And then I entered the leadership coaching world, and from there, I was in that for a few years and then entered into my priestess ministry. So, yeah, I'll pause for a moment and just see what thread is kind of pulling you want
Yeah,
to tug on
no.
for this.
I want to also say that because there was so much fire, it's apparent that your body was craving the tears in the water, right? It was craving the water element to soften you. And if this we take this thread that you just went through back to the original question of, the fire and the rage and the anger and the not enoughness, like constantly being through. It seems like that whole journey was probably things that you had to learn how to be kind to yourself, not get aggravated with others and maybe be like bitchy. You know what I mean? It just seems like, God, yeah.
That's a
I saw
whole
you go
one.
like
Yeah,
that.
I'm
So,
like that's the pull, that's the thread. It was
yeah.
really an initiation into my sovereignty of radical responsibility to everything because I was building this self-awareness, I could no longer be upset with my boss or upset with life. I was seeing the patterns of how my unworthiness was
Mhm.
causing these dynamics of,
Mhm.
oh, they're not seeing me. They're not seeing my talent. I feel like I'm being disregarded. Well, I wasn't seeing
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
and they were never going to see me. I really truly feel, and this is where soul perspective comes in, that we
Yeah.
had a soul contract for them to never see me. Because what would happen if they saw me? Well, I had a teacher's pet prostitute archetype going. Let me explain what I mean by
Oh no,
that.
I totally know that.
Yeah, but hey,
Yeah,
you say jump, I ask how high. You want me to, I'm a star, but into a square shape or a round shape hole as long as you're going to pay me whatever you need. Because I am scarce, I feel like no one has my back. I feel like I have to make money. I'm unworthy, so I'm not going to stand for the way that I want to make money in my brilliance and my light. I'm going to do it in whatever paradigm you provide for me and all of those things, right?
and this corrodes. It corrodes the trust in yourself when you live like that. That's betrayal. So those of you who let's sum that up, that's betrayal and corroding your confidence, your ability to trust yourself, the ability to confide in yourself. Yeah.
Amen.
Right.
And so then we begin the journey of building trust with ourselves, which was making that space, helping tears, asking for that time off. And like I said, with the human perspective, it's like I was angry, but at the soul perspective, and I didn't quite know this at the time. I know this looking back. I'm like, I really feel like we had a soul agreement for them never to see me because if I was seen and I was making great money, why would I have ever left? I would have been like, well, this is what life is. Like, sure, I'm not totally fulfilled, but like, I make great money. They're proud of me. It looks good. And it's like, no, the world, the universe was going to be like, no, bitch, you're here as a waist shower and a light bearer of Christ's divine feminine consciousness. You don't stop there.
Mm.
You're ever expanding. And
Ooh.
you are to create a life on your absolute own terms. You are to create and live within your own paradigm. No one else's frequency is to be a steward of your own temple, of your sanctity. It's
Mm.
you. So, God bless them. Thank you for fulfilling that soul contract. of not seeing me so I could get to the point of where then I made a change because it can be very scary. I really had a pattern and a scarcity around switching jobs or finding something that actually feels good to me because I also had a pattern running that in order to make money, it has to be hard. And
Hmm.
so I naturally would never choose a job that was actually aligned with my skill sets, but I was always very good and highly rewarded at whatever I did because I would just cut myself off from my soul no matter what and make myself good at it. Because that is the old paradigm. And I really had that deeply within me.
That that was, I just feel it like integrating in my body. Let's just all take like a moment because there's just so much that was transmitted. And I'm sure you guys who are listening, if you're hearing this, you're relating to this in you. And so I just want to take a moment to help pause through like these downloads so you can integrate. And I'm just going to invite everybody to close their eyes and feel this light pink pale rose in your heart because we're going to bring in the energy of Kuan Yin and
Mhm.
Mother Mary for compassion and forgiveness. So if you have mistreated yourself, if you've mistreated others, if you've had a bitter tongue at times, if you talk bad about yourself and other anything, okay? I want you guys to just really invite this pale pink rose frequency in your heart. And we're going to bring in the element of water to calm your fire. To calm your fire. You could just picture a waterfall running over the crown of your head, softening every cell, atom, and molecule of your being so that you can receive more of you today. You can awaken more of you. That was our intention to begin with, that you could have some healing around the excess fire and bring in some water to cool that. And if you're reversed, you're a very watery being, a very feminine being, then you're also picking up the fire on the transmission of two people who have come together that have worked tremendously to be balanced. I wouldn't even say balance 100% of the time, but there is a strength that I will give myself credit for, and I know you do too, for stewarding sacred union within in our own unique ways. And like I said, nobody's perfect all the time, but I just want to bring in those energies. So let's just continue to bring in that water, like Kuan Yin come in, like this sonic massage happening as I'm speaking this, just like in your shoulder blades, in your scapula, like just feel it, getting it out, and maybe opening up the ribs, those holding patterns where we don't allow ourselves to breathe deep enough because we're holding anger and rage because we're not happy with where we're at in life right now. And that is okay because that is the invitation for change and for an up level. Mm. That is the invitation for the change and the up level. So, Dani, my dear soul sister, let's talk about what you're being called to birth to the world and up level now, in this now moment. What has been your latest lesson and your latest rising that's being called?
First of all, I just need to say, yum. I'm just so receiving your glory and your stewardship of this temple space. I love that we're getting to stop and integrate these elements that felt so, so yummy. I feel so soft. Ah, so, yes, what I'm being called to birth at this time is helping people awaken their soul song, which is really another way. It works on multiple levels. It's our purpose, it's the path, it's how we sing the soul into our reality. And that's really through light language, sound, channeling chants, toning, just really opening up this vocal vessel, not only because it needs to be cleared, which we all know from thousands and thousands of years, especially the feminine voice, but also the masculine voices. So clearing that, but then there's a reconnection, a reinstatement of our authority, of our power, and then a coming together in devotion and understanding of the true power, the true magic of the voice as a channel into vesselhood of God, source, the infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it, to allow yourself to literally sound God frequencies into your auric field, into your reality, to uplift you, to clear you, to purify you, to bring people back into connection with their purpose. And Nicole, I also know that you operate in a similar way and have this kind of pillar within your sacred temples and offerings as well. So I'd love to hear your take too on, you know, frequential medicine, vibratory medicine through the voice. It's so potent. And I think that we work with so many leaders, so many, well, I'll speak for myself here, closeted priestesses, where when we can create sacred space and just normalize these types of ancient remembrances, ancient ceremonial arts, it's like their worlds change. It doesn't take 1, 2 years of coaching. Yes, transformation takes time, and this is a lifestyle, so there is no time limit on it. But it bypasses the mental bodies so that shifts can take place beyond the mind, so that our beingness actually changes. And by law, the reality around us begins to shift as well.
I love that. And I'm going to take it even deeper because vibrational medicine works on a cellular level. And what happens is, since we're born, we start putting on layers of the shoulds. We start absorbing other people's projections. And before you know it, we're coated with armor of stuff that isn't even what our true essence is. We're not even living in our true vibratory signature. So I see when you use your voice, it's you're making a decision to accept yourself. Because I'll tell you, when most people start using their voice in our training, they hate their voice. I sound horrible. I don't like the way I sound. Oh my God, I listen to myself on audio. I am not putting it out there. Or I want to sing this, but it's terrible. It's like, it's still them having to use their voice to learn how to love and accept themselves and stop being unkind. So we talked about the rage and the anger. And I believe everybody, and I don't care, I'm just going to put myself out there. I believe most men and women are holding a lot of rage, anger, shame, and guilt that they are not owning because they don't want to look at it. And where is it stored? In the fascia. In the fascia, in the muscles, the tissues, the cells. And vibratory medicine is like laser beams going in there, sonically massaging, stirring it up. Sometimes we can transmute it and like literally release it, just have a release like that. Other times it brings it to the surface. So, oh my gosh, I'm aware now. I'm aware of my bullshit. And then you work with a vibrational medicine therapist like me or Dani, and we help you keep transmuting it. And the thing is you're becoming more of you every time you stick with this. This is not something you do once. This is a daily practice. I do this every single day. Why? Because we live in an information-driven world and an energetic world where everything's vibration and people are projecting their shit onto us nonstop. You feel people when you go into the grocery store. You feel people through the internet. Like, you feel things all the time. Am I right? Can I say that? Where are my empaths at that hear emotional overload and they're like, I can't freaking take it. Right? I can't take it. So to me, this is where this is going to get juicy. And then I'll let you talk because I'm on a tangent right now.
Go!
This is what healed me, guys, and transformed me. That's why I teach it. And so the first two instruments that came to me was one, was a singing bowl. It was gifted to me. It was a solar plexus one. Why? Because I needed to come into my personal power. I was giving it away to everyone, people pleasing. And let me tell you, when you're constantly people pleasing, there's a layer of anger and rage underneath there, under that people pleasing too. Okay. The next thing was a drum. It was a buffalo drum. And that's when drumming became a huge thing for me because that's how I liberated myself of the emotions that were sticky and heavy. So when we talk about light language and like all these sound frequencies, you have the shamanic and the more guttural and deep things that come out that people, if you look like me and Dani and you're blonde and like this, people are like, will look at you like, what? That just came out of you. And sometimes you can even resist that part of you because it sounds like a man. It sounds really masculine. It can sound dark, shadowy. But this is the thing, guys. There's nothing there's nothing to be scared about your shadow. You want to meet your shadow. You want to love your shadow. You want to embrace it. You're not in conflict with it, like, get the fuck out of here. Sorry, I swear, mom. If you're listening, my mom hates when I swear. But no, if we're in inner conflict with ourselves, then we can't heal. So we have to learn to love all these parts that start to show up. So I want to just say that this is the power of light language and the voice and all the different frequencies that come in. It's just basically, let's just simplify it. Come back to who you truly are and build the life that is aligned with you. That's why this podcast is called Live Life by Design. You get to design a life that is aligned with your soul. You get to create it. You get to remember your power. And when you're living for everyone else and not addressing your emotions and not taking care of yourself, it becomes nearly impossible. And when you're being hard on yourself, I should be better. I should be smarter. I should have more money. I should achieve more things. I should be farther along right now. And you start comparing, then you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck in a rut and you're not going to be able to flow the abundance. So, for all you listeners, this is the download coming now. You want more abundance holistically in your life? Be kind and compassionate and patient with yourself and others. Don't
I
dodge.
already hear everyone going, oh, eye roll, but it's the
I know.
truth.
It's the truth because it's one of the hardest things to do, especially to yourself. I mean, like, it sounds so freaking simple, but think about it. How many times do you have a negative thought come? How many times a day does a negative thought pop in or a worry pop in? Let's be real here. Like, nobody is freaking sparkling butterflies and unicorns 24/7. I think there's like studies says that it's like 85% of our thoughts are negative. Like, so you have to have a conscious pattern interruption. Okay. I'm
I love that so much. And
I
I just want to
totally
double
regret.
tap. It's like, that's the thing. I think people sometimes see people that hold a lot of light, that are happy, that are expressed, and like, oh, it's easy for you.
Mhm.
No, being kind to yourself is one of the most radical, revolutionary things you can do in this lifetime. It takes an immense amount of strength, and it's really no fucking bullshit. Straight up. That is where the warrior heart, the fire needs to come through. That pleasure, that kindness is fucking serious. If you want to channel high frequencies, clear out your fucking pipes. How do you do that? You emote. You must emote. You must steward, liberate your emotions, create safe and sacred space to do so. Create the safety with yourself to do so. That includes courageous conversations. That includes being on your growth edge enough where you're growing, but you're not so far on your growth edge that you're re-traumatizing your nervous system. That requires taking a stand for, I am valuable. I am going to charge this for my services. It requires a humbleness of, I don't know how this is going to work, but I've been given step 1 with no step 2 through 50 from spirit, and I'm going to take it even if I fall flat on my fucking face. That is true humility. Humility is not saying, oh, I'm not magic. I don't have anything to give. Oh, humility is saying, wow, I am so fucking powerful. Yet I have no idea where I'm leading. I'm probably going to look like an absolute fool, but I have grown the trust in myself and my guidance that I am going to move forward anyways. And I am going to move forward with the musculature that I've grown of grace, of trust, of love, of forgiveness for when I look like a freaking idiot. And when I feel like I look like an idiot, I'm going to love myself and I'm going to prepare myself to do the next step that I'm given. And I know that this is a way of life, not some jet fuel from A to B. It's a becoming. I think we're moving from this paradigm of getting from A to B, which is like a direct line and linear, to instead being the rose that from her center unfolds petal by petal. And we are present to each moment, each opportunity, each challenge that arises with the unfolding of the petal. We're actually not going anywhere. We are central, and life unfolds from us, and we show up to it with presence, reverence, and deep love for ourselves. That's where the change happens.
Whew. Guys, uh, I want to speak to what's coming through because these listeners, this is going to trigger in some of you a wound of where you feel like you're being punished or talking down to. Okay? For those of you who don't take action, are scared to step it up, you kind of like to hide, you're shy. If this is triggering you, this is an invitation to heal feeling punished for being bad and not good enough and like you're being spoken down to. That's a huge wound that keeps us stuck and then trying to also do things to please people. I just want to speak to it because it's alive in the field and it wants to be transmuted and alchemized through this conversation. And the way that we can heal that wound of feeling punished, not good enough, spoken down to, is to give ourselves once again the love, compassion, and kindness. This is the opportunity for you to rise up into your power and to not have any kind of hierarchy when you talk to others. This is going to be really important for all of us as new earth leaders moving forward. That's why this authentic power is not a punishing power, it's a compassionate power with inner authority. So there's a difference. So if you carry the wound of I'm being punished, when someone speaks to you with authority, you might take it as they're criticizing you or talking down to you because authority scares you. That's what I want to say. So, right? Like authority can scare people because
And
authority requires you to make moves. When someone speaks to you with authority, they have boundaries. Go ahead.
no, it's and they're mirroring to you your authority that's within, your unclaimed authority that's ready to rise.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. There's everyone is a piece of the puzzle, a piece of the mosaic. Everyone has something to contribute,
Mhm.
and has the divine inherent right, birthright, literally, to feel fulfilled, to feel protected, to feel safe, to feel nourished, to feel wealthy, be all of these things. But it takes that sovereign divine fire and that authority, or sometimes it's just that reaction that we were speaking to before of enough. This is enough. I'm sick of it.
Right.
And we start, and even if we look at where this last kind of bit of the conversation, it started with fire. It's like, you want to be a channel? Clear your pipes into and it's the rose. And that's a micro to the macro of what happens. It's like we let that out and we follow these waves of the frequency, and eventually where we land is in balance and neutrality after we ride that wave of the emotion. Because emotion, what it does as we let it move through us, it actually encodes ourselves with wisdom and truth while letting go of the charge that emotion holds that keeps us stuck.
Yeah.
So the emotion allows us to remember the wisdom of whatever kind of construct created that emotion. We gain the wisdom, but we discharge the charge, the discordance by letting it out. So when we have emotion stuck in us, that wisdom is like trapped like an icicle in our body, in our being. But when we let that emotion go, not only does the energy release, but that wisdom encodes us.
So delicious. And that's why we're talking about light language and vibrational medicine practices to help you move those emotions and not freeze. Not freeze as soon as a heavy emotion comes up and spiral in that emotion, right? And stay stuck. And the light language and the vibrational medicine, the vocal toning, even getting an instrument and dancing, guys, all of it together, all of it. It's playing your body like a divine instrument to heal yourself. And it's really simple because we're here to remind you that everything is inside you to heal yourself. You can heal yourself. I see Dani and I as guides and other people that do what we do as guides, transformational guides that are here to help you remember your power and how to use your body to rediscover more, remember, let's just say remember more of who you are and what you came here to do. And that's the most important part because that's the fulfillment. And what do we all want right now? Freedom, fulfillment, love, harmony, good relationships, abundance, all of that. And that really only happens when we give ourselves permission to go deep and discover who we are and own our desires. If you
Mm.
can't own your desires or feel deserving of your desires, it's going to be really hard to create a fulfilling life.
And that's what you were speaking to before, too, is this divine union. A lot of people, their mind immediately goes to, oh, my soulmate, the love of my life.
Oh, it's
Divine
within
union
you.
of the
Yeah.
masculine and the feminine aspects within.
Oh my gosh.
Divine union of receiving your guidance through the feminine and then the masculine within, taking a stand to create the container where that feminine essence of your soul can flow. Go,
Okay.
Nicole. I see it
I
bubbling.
have to. I have to.
Yes.
This is a wake up. For those of you who are obsessed with finding your sacred union, your twin flame, the love outside of yourself, and that you Google that and you're constantly looking for that, listen, you got to do it within yourself first. You got to focus on the love for you. You got to focus on getting in harmony with your masculine and feminine energy because then you're a match for somebody that is going to be fulfilling and in alignment with you. Otherwise, sometimes what happens is I'm not saying that because you can get in relationships together, but I'm like if you're obsessing about that, just do the work on yourself and trust when that person shows up, they show up. But so many people are so obsessed with finding their partner. If you just focus on you and trust that that partner is going to show up when it's aligned.
Mm,
You know what I see it in the spiritual
absolutely.
community all the time. Like my husband, he came to my Shakti class. Did I ever think I was going to marry him and be with him? No offense, Stephen. I love you. But like, no, I was not looking. We were friends. I did not even know that that was our path. Like, we were friends first. I did not know, like, Spirit was just like orchestrating that in its own unique way. So,
Absolutely. And I feel like, the first time I really understood that concept, I think it was at the beginning of my awakening journey. I was reading the Celestine Prophecy, and there's a part in the book where he's describing essentially how we're meant to be whole circles, right? Like a whole circle, because when they come together and you have two circles, you what? You birth the third, you create the Vesica Pisces. And a lot of us are just walking around as C's. Our circle is not complete.
Yeah.
So, what happens if you haven't done the healing, if you haven't done the embodiment work to really come home to yourself, what we're doing is we're walking around as these broken circles, and then we find another broken circle. And we're trying with that other broken circle to make two circles. Well, one broken circle plus another broken circle does not make two circles. It makes like 1.5, or 1.25. And so you're going to attract whatever's at that frequency. And so there's always going to be this void or this need from your partner to make you feel safe in some way, to make you feel really seen and supported. Not that a divine partner won't see you and protect you and make you safe, but you don't need them to, you allow them to. Because you've already created that safety, that protection, that foundation within yourself. And so it's more like, hey, I'm having a delicious party in my inner temple. Hmm, will I let him in? Let's be clear, I'm not handing out applications. He's got to prove himself and he will come because
Oh
I
my
am in this inner sanctum and it is nice. It's me and my guides and it feels good. Okay. So, like, that's just what I want to bring in.
Oh, it's so good. And see, this is bringing. See, you just opened up another whole freaking portal. Now we're like all over. Okay, so no, it's true because your body knows, ladies. Your body freaking knows. Okay, if you're like, oh, but he's nice, your body will know. If it doesn't open, do not have sex. I'm just saying, your body knows. And if you are a high priestess, your body will reject people, literally reject people. I'm talking about if you have sex and you get a lot of UTIs or you have other kinds of issues, other vaginal
Chills.
issues, your body is rejecting the person that you are being intimate with. And that's something that I'm just dropping here for you. You should check in with. Right?
I'm like, do we have 8 hours? Do we go into one
We're
conversation
gonna have
now?
to
Like,
do,
let's
we're
get
gonna
back. Like, I love speaking with you. Thank you, sister. Yes,
that like literally would be another conversation for a whole nother podcast. So
totally.
we'll definitely have you back. Oof. Okay.
Now let's recenter.
Yeah, we're gonna recenter because we both sprayed our oils. I'm gonna invite everybody to come back to that pink rose in the heart because
Mm.
Kuan Yin and Mother Mary are very present here, and Hathor is coming in right now. Whew. And I just want everybody to like drop off some of those emotional charges. If you've gotten triggered throughout this conversation, if it has stirred up some wounds and put like salt and vinegar in places, we want to bring in some cooling rose petals. So, anywhere in your body, guys, that you're feeling the sting or the stirring or something heavy that wants to be transmuted, I'm going to invite you to use the power of visualization and just place these beautiful, wet, damp pink rose petals
Mm.
in these different spots of the body. And there could be multiple. And it's a moist, wet, damp rose petals. And then on top of that, we're going to put pine, needles of pine. Go ahead, Dani. You can co create with me and bring it in, bring in the light language, bring in the frequencies. We're bringing in the pine to help stabilize you and ground you in this softness and this healing. Let the pine needles awaken you and ground you to your power. And now we're going to just picture fresh soil being packed over the heart. And that can feel heavy for some of you. It can it can trigger feeling suffocated if your heart isn't ready to open, and that's okay. I want you to just feel this soil because the Druids, we used soil to heal and alchemize.
Hmm.
The Druids used the earth and the soil. They would bury people in the soil and pray over them to get rid of evil spirits. And so we put the soil, put them in over the heart to liberate ourselves today from any of these wounds that humanity carries, because these are core wounds.
And I want to add just a thanking of yourself for all of those who are listening, who are showing up and opening to honoring all that you are. This is such sacred, deep, hard sometimes work. And you are just so seen, and you are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. We are with you, and your guides are with you. Neroshikiaya.
Nasakuro yete kiria I.
Nerokoshiaria kusotoriano mayo.
And so now we open up a portal to bring in more energy of forgiveness and everything that no longer serves you. Give yourself permission to let it go up and out and into the portal to be transmuted and alchemized. You can even see yourself pulling it out of you. If you start lifting things or you feel called to weave your hands, those of you that are weavers, you might start weaving your hands. You might start speaking light language, vocally toning, moving your body, whatever you need to do, pull it out, release it. It no longer needs to stay. This is the offering that Dani and I have come together to share you, a release of the heaviness, the imbalances in the masculine and feminine. Doresaki nai.
Nerokoshirearea kustotorakonana tarakoshetria kia sotoroyano mayo shishiarono mai.
And just feel your feet if you can. Hold your feet or push your feet into the floor to ground. Just ground it in. So this is an opportunity for you to learn more about light language and vibration and using sound, essential oils, dance, and movement to transform your life. Dani has an amazing offering, and I'm going to just let her share a little bit of where you can find her, how you can find her, and what she has upcoming. So you guys are going to want to follow this woman. She's so powerful. So go ahead, Dani.
Thank you. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Dani.Frederick, Dani.Frederick. I'll also be giving all of my links over to Nicole. And one of those is a really beautiful 4-week journey where we meet once a week to begin to awaken and open this light language channel to normalize it and bring through the remembrance of this birthright that belongs to all, of stewarding your soul song, to shed those layers, shed those densities, and give yourself full permission to begin to stream through you so that your brilliance can baptize not only your entire being, but also the world around you.
And I'm going to share all of this in the show notes. Guys, she also has 3 songs now on Spotify and
Yes.
iTunes, and you definitely want to check them out. And it's just such an honor to have you here. And because you came here today, I want to leave you with a personal light language activation to help you get clarity on your offerings and what you're doing moving forward, because this is my jam, guys. I help leaders lead at a whole new level and serve and create offers and brands that are aligned with their soul. So if you are a leader that speaks light language, that is really ready to birth things, and it doesn't even have to be light language. If you're just a spiritually open-minded leader ready to expand, this is what I do. So, Dani, are you ready to
Yum,
receive?
let's go.
Okay. So I just want to thank you for being here. And we're going to open
Huge.
up the wings of Isis. Bring in Isis frequencies. Aladura sataki sarakushima i. Release any wounds around the heart. Sakira kushkara itara itorosi. Open up the spine, open up the channel. Arahira i. Ground into your feminine power. Ora i, your sensual, sexual energy. Activating the kundalini from the base of the spine. The serpent awakens. Shedding the false beliefs around your masculine energy. Allowing you to create with flow and grace and ease and joyous flow. Asaki rotora tiaki. Release the head back, open the throat. May new frequencies and tones expand as you help change the lives of others and create a greater impact on this earth. Enakiria ora I. May your breasts awaken ara I to the energy of nourishment for self. Ora I. Holding yourself in your divine arms, giving yourself the nourishment and love that you need to create with embodied wisdom, not forcing. So you create with embodied wisdom, not forcing. Oh no, let the weight drop off of pressure to get things done faster. Let it drop off. Let it drop off. Let the spine recalibrate. Inakatoria itaria I a om. Take a deep breath in and hold your womb space. You are a high priestess. You are here to deliver codes. You're here to open up the wisdom within others' hearts, to help them remember, to bridge worlds. Enasaria umaki. Your voice is needed. Your soul songs are needed. Ara iria I. Light language is needed. Ora I. Trust yourself to steward these programs. Ara trust yourself to build schools. Ara I. Trust yourself to build wisdom. Ara sakiki ai. Trust yourself to lead yourself in a nourishing, joyous, loving, compassionate, kind way. And we take a nice deep bow. We thank Great Spirit, Isis, Hathor, Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, the dragons, Christ, Holy Mother, Holy Father God. And we bow with reverence to what is possible when we say yes to our gifts, to our uniqueness. May this serve you in the most profound ways. And everyone who's here that listened, you received something out of that too, because we're all connected. We're all connected. And I just want you to ground into your feet. Really ground, touch your knees, touch your flesh, be in that body, anchor, lock, and seal all of it. All the amazing transformation and shifts needed for us to like really embrace ourselves and create with more ease and flow and nourishment and trust ourselves to pioneer and be innovative moving forward. How did that feel? How did it
Yum,
feel?
yum, yum.
Was that what
Yeah.
you needed? Did you get what
Mm.
you needed?
Yeah, I mean, it was really reflective of where I'm at. I'm so in the past couple of weeks in this sensual, sexual Kundalini awakening, the breasts, all of that, in a way that's used. It's the Isis teachings, right? It's the serpent priestesshood of channeling that energy up the spine and allowing it to imbue us with the life force to birth creatively in this world in a way that's in divine alignment, which is some of the other things we were speaking to, which is a deepening of that divine union, birthing creation, like really releasing some of those old tendrils, some old things that are still there, just a deeper releasing, coming into that balance to just birth so lusciously. I feel it right now. I want to like be like, like, you know,
Yeah,
birthing in
no,
that way.
it's that's part of my gift is I'm a Shakti activator and
Mm,
I activate that energy in people. And it's yeah, we just can just enjoy it. All of us that felt it and
mhm.
are feeling it. And there's just so much more for Dani and I to dive into. We will have her definitely back again. But seriously, guys, follow her, check out the show notes. It's so amazing having you here today.
So amazing to be here. Thank you so much. And thank you to all who are listening and stepping even further into your brilliance. Just great thanks to all of the guides and helpers who also stepped here today and our higher selves and all of the weaving that's happening with the priestess archetype, the rose archetypes. And thank you, Nicole, for creating this and birthing this, for allowing this magic to go into the earth grids and reach more and more people, and for being who you are in this world. I love you so dearly, sister.
Aw, I love you so much. And if you guys are looking for soul activation sessions, I only have a couple spaces left for July, and that is not going to be offered again. I just opened that up because I know some of you needed a nudge right now. And I'm going to drop other ways to work with me also in the show notes. So stay tuned for more co creations and other epicness coming your way. Thank you so much. Mwah. That was so fun.
Yum!
Ooh, it's getting so calm and loving, and she's
Right?
feel it.
Hmm.
Welcome to my temple.
Thank you
Welcome
for
to my.
having me, sister. Yes, all day. I'll drink this Kool-Aid. Yum.
Welcome to my online temple, where you're going to heal, transform, and awaken more of you. Ooh la 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 la.
She is ready.
Okay. I'm gonna hit the button in a minute. I'm just grounding myself because I have the intro. I want to read your intro, and I have like this whole thing that I want to do, and
Sure.
I have to take myself seriously for that part.
I am here to witness all the aspects and
Right?
hold you in this behind the scenes and in this emanation of the professional Nicole. Yes, I am just so here for it. Thank you for that beautiful invocation. No Shakira. I'm loving all this sensual energy that's going through for us.
You know, this is my first thing, but it's gonna be so fun. I know it.
Totally. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I feel like
The
we've already done
energy has
3 podcasts.
the energy has been crazy this morning preparing for this. I just want to say that all of it. I'm like,
All the fairy
I
language is gonna come
no, I
through.
think it's so lovely.